What are 10 things that all dog guardians should know? In this video, me and Jose from the Train Me Please YouTube channel are going to discuss just that. We've carefully considered this list, so let's jump right in.
1. Develop a great relationship with your dog. The key for this is to have the amount of pleasant interactions with your dog clearly and abundantly outweigh the unpleasant ones. Lots of fun training and enrichment sessions are your best options here. This will quickly and efficiently improve your relationship with your dog and how much they trust you. On the other hand, corrections of any type will damage your relationship with them and result in detrimental side effects, such as fear, anxiety, and even a lot of uncertain and concealed behavior from the dog. Preparing your dog and their environment so that they can succeed and then reinforcing them when they do are the best ways to ensure that you have a fabulous relationship with them. I really hope that this never happens to you, but a dog can get sick, and sometimes in order to help them, some form of unpleasant treatment might be needed. The fact that you developed a great relationship with them should buffer you against any long-lasting negative consequences. So, to the best of your ability, minimize stress and anxiety for your dog and maximize reinforcement opportunities.
2. Puppies are not a blank slate. There's a common misconception that when we get a puppy, they're a blank slate and we have full control over who they become. While it's absolutely true that how you treat and train your dog is going to have a massive impact on how they turn out, you're not the only piece of the puzzle. Things such as breed, genetics, the life experience that your puppy had before you brought them home, and even the conditions that mom experienced while pregnant are all going to have a big impact on your puppy's behavior and personality. One of the things that I strongly recommend is to look honestly at your lifestyle and your activity level and choose a breed based on that rather than how they look. Genetically anchored behavior is very strong, so it's important to research the breed that you're considering to make sure that you're likely to be compatible. Breed won't determine everything though, so stay tuned for point 8.
3. Use the power of positive associations. To explain how this concept works, let's use how dogs perceive children as an example. If when a dog sees children, they tend to be loud, move towards the dog and try to pat them erratically, the dog might very well not like children. If, on the other hand, when the dog sees children, they tend to keep a certain distance, the dog gets to engage in a fun game with their owner and get some super delicious reinforcers, the dog is very likely to like children. These associations can be used for everything and they are super powerful. When socializing young puppies, a lot of people opt for passive exposure to a wide variety of things. This could perhaps turn out okay, but we never know what sort of associations they might be making if we are using this passive approach. Let's not leave it up to chance and be proactive about this. Let's use the power of positive associations to make it more likely for our dogs to have a pleasant experience with anything they might be encountering throughout their lives. It is almost always a good idea to pair anything new, unknown, or potentially scary with food treats and fun games. Also, when you perceive a certain situation as being potentially scary or exciting, give you and your dog plenty of distance from it, at least initially.
4. Training context matters. Many people feel that if their dog knows and can complete a cue in certain settings, it should mean that they can do it in all settings. I commonly hear people say that their dog is being stubborn or choosing to ignore them because they're great at something in the house, but they won't do it outside. Is that true though? We need to remember that the setting absolutely impacts the difficulty. The example that I commonly give is saying your ABCs. If I asked you to recite the ABCs out loud in your room, you could likely do it. When you're not overwhelmed or distracted, saying your ABCs is a simple task. If instead I asked you to say your ABCs on stage in front of 10,000 people, you would likely freeze or at least make a mistake. Where you're being asked to say your ABCs changes the difficulty and whether you're going to be able to complete them. Context matters a lot, and this is true for dogs too. Asking for a cue in your home where there's minimal distractions is much different than doing it out on a walk. Set your dog up for success by gradually increasing the difficulty of the setting and helping them generalize that skill in all settings.
5. Predictable games help dogs. When a dog learns a predictable game, such as the engage-disengage game or the Super Bowl's pattern game, it will be easier for them to deal with anything potentially scary or exciting in the environment. For example, if a dog is afraid of other dogs, exposing them to that situation will be much easier and likely to be successful inside the secure structure of a previously learned game. The dog will visually acknowledge the other dog and either look at us or start moving to the next ball in order to receive a reinforcer. Due to the fact that the dog already knows this game very well, they are much less likely to have an overt big reaction. Classical conditioning will work its magic, and the dog may very well even really start to enjoy these situations.
If you're enjoying this video, we would be so grateful if you'd hit the like button to let us know. 6. We don't get to decide whether something is punishing or reinforcing for our dog. Every dog is going to react differently to different experiences, so we need to pay attention to how our dog feels. In dog training, punishment is anything that causes the behavior to happen less frequently, while reinforcement is anything that causes the behavior to happen more frequently. For example, every dog is going to have a different favorite, but treats are a common reinforcer because every dog likes food. Other experiences tend to be a little bit more murky. For example, my dog loves being pet, so she would definitely be more likely to repeat any behavior that resulted in her getting pets. For my dog, petting is a reinforcer because she's encouraged to repeat whatever behavior preceded it. I've had many clients' dogs, though, that did not enjoy being touched. Even though we might pet them with the best of intentions, for that dog, it's a punishment. Another common mistake that I see with this is when people say that their dog enjoys their prong or shock collar. Commonly, I'll hear that because a dog gets excited when the guardian brings out that collar, the dog must like it. We need to be careful with this mentality. What we're actually seeing is that the dog is excited for what the collar represents, which is getting to go outside. Going outside is reinforcing, and that's why your dog appears happy. If the dog truly enjoyed the collar and the collar itself was reinforcing, they would be more likely to repeat whatever behavior preceded it. Instead, if your dog pulls on leash and you correct them with that collar, they're less likely to repeat the behavior of pulling. Therefore, by definition, the collar is punishing because it decreased a behavior. Everyone's going to make different choices for their dog, but we need to be careful when we state whether something's punishing or reinforcing.
7. Learn about both sides of each behavior. All of your dog's behaviors have something that happens just before the behavior starts. We call this the antecedent. All of their behaviors also have something that happens straight after them. We call this the consequence. A simple unit of behavior is composed of antecedent, behavior, consequence. As an example, you ask your dog to sit, that's the antecedent. The dog sits, that's the behavior. And you give the dog a cookie, that's the consequence. Here's another one. The dog sees another dog way too close, that's the antecedent. Barks at the other dog, that's the behavior. And the other dog moves away, that's the consequence. Most people that are new to dog training will usually find it easy to understand the consequence side of things. As for the antecedent, in general, it tends to receive less attention. That was certainly the case for me when I first started learning about this stuff. However, antecedents are incredibly important. They are as important as consequences, and paying attention to them can help us set up our dogs for success.
8. Work with the dog in front of you, not the one in your head. I think it's wonderful to have huge goals and ideas of all the things that you want to do with and teach your dog, but we do need to look at the dog in front of us, not the dog that we want them to be. For example, you might daydream about taking your dog to the dog park, but do you actually have a dog social dog that would enjoy that? Many dogs do not like going to dog parks, and that's totally fine. There are lots of other fun things that you can do with them. We need to observe our dog, watch their behavior, and pay attention to what they actually enjoy and what they're capable of. There's a lot that we can do to train and shape our dogs, but it's important to also appreciate and respect who they naturally are. Work with the dog in front of you, not the one in your mind.
9. Reinforcement strategies matter. We ask the dog to do something. The dog does it, we mark the behavior with a click or yes, and offer a reinforcer for it. In an ideal world, that would be the end of that story. However, it doesn't really work like that for dogs. There is information that they take from how, where, and how quickly we deliver the reinforcer. For example, consider when we are teaching a dog to walk on a loose lead. Let's assume that we want the dog to walk on our left-hand side without pulling. Regardless of whether or not we are using a clicker or marker word with impeccable timing, the dog will move towards the reinforcer delivery position. If we want to reinforce with our right hand, that will make the dog cut across in front of us. If, on the other hand, we reinforce using our left hand, the dog will be much less likely to do that because they have learned that the reinforcer is coming to where exactly they are at the moment. For other behaviors, our reinforcement delivery strategy can also help set up the next repetition or even help with whether we are promoting excitement or calmness. Before you start a training session, have a plan and consider how you are using reinforcement so that the session is as easy as possible for you and your dog.
10. You are your dog's life. How we treat them matters. How we train them matters. How they feel matters. When we get a dog, we're taking guardianship of a life. They are a captive animal and their entire existence will be with us. You'll commonly see dogs equated to toddlers for mentality, and while that may be true, unlike a toddler, they'll never grow up. They'll never move out, get to make their own choices, or change things that they didn't like about their upbringing the way a child eventually can. You are your dog's life, start to finish. Whether they have a great or not so great life essentially comes down to their experience with you. That's an incredible gift, but also an incredible responsibility. We need to treat it as such and respect these amazing creatures that we get the honor of spending a few short years with. Thank you so much, Jose, for this fun collaboration. You can check out more about his channel here. I would love to know in the comments which of these 10 points resonated with you and what you feel should be added to the list. If you want to learn more about force-free dog training, I suggest watching this video.